So as we specified in policy, we don't need laptop in this class. So I'm glad to see, okay, nobody holds a laptop today. And definitely cell phone, you know that, right? So, and now today we'll begin our journey officially begin our journey to study operations management. Before we jump to the introduction parts of operation management, I want to talk about a little bit about the career of operation management. Well, if you go to different searching websites to search for the job, right? Like such as, which websites you use when you search for the job or internship? Craigslist? Craigslist probably is for the lawnmower job, right? The yard work. Just kidding. But typically you can find a lot of. Which websites you use?
LinkedIn.
Indeed.
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, yeah. LinkedIn. Internship.com. I use Indeed. Long time ago I used Monster, Career Builder, but LinkedIn nowadays become very popular too, right? So there's so many websites you can search. Okay, the title like operations management, supply chain. Well, that's the two fields we're covered in our class: operation management, supply chain management. Still, looks theoretically, traditionally we think operation management probably is the one of the least attractive concentration major in the school business. Well, I have to admit that. Even I am in this major, right? I have to admit that about 10 years ago when I applied my PhD program, most of the program I applied is finance PhD. I didn't get any offer, so that's the reason I end up with operation management. Only got one offer from Purdue Management School, which is management science, operation management. So traditional like finance, marketing, okay, you get high payment. So many of our students, I believe here, right? Raise your hand if your concentration is finance or marketing. A lot, right? One reason, most likely you have this reason because, okay, hopefully I can earn big money or very exciting industry, finance or marketing, which is still true. We have to admit that, which is still true. If you go to investment bank, if you go to a hedge fund, if you're very successful in marketing or finance, you have very maybe higher chance than other majors to earn big money nowadays. School business. Then, but what operation management, supply chain management can provide as a career? Let's see some statistics. But it's still so unattractive or not really. So here is the operations management and manager. These jobs. Overview by US News. Let's just see the quick stats. Okay, so median salary 97, it's almost 6 figures, right? Almost $100,000. So median salary when you become operation manager, when maybe you work for 5 years, even 10 years, and then that's your expected median salary. It really depends. We know it's really depends, but I don't think it's bad as well. Right? Bad, not as bad as well. Unemployment rate is extremely low in this field. We'll talk about why it's extremely low. Because we do need a lot of people working in this field. Right? Bless you. And the rank is number 8 for best business jobs. 19 best paying jobs. Right? So that is the basic statistic for operations management. Let's talk about supply chain management. Supply chain management is, we'll talk about this chapter, it's a subfield of operations management. Right? You can see the salary is pretty wide range, right? And it's become low end to $51,000 to high end $114,000. And about supply chain analyst, that's another very hot job. Didn't have so many comments here, but this satisfaction is big. So what I want to mention is that nowadays, especially after recession, where operation management and supply chain management draw a lot of attention, okay, from Fortune 5 company, they draw lots of attention for this field. We'll explain that. And then there are lots of opportunity in this field. Maybe, okay, the high ceiling is not as high as finance or marketing, but it can provide a very stable job. It can provide a very decent salary. So, I just want to let you know. So if some students in the future want to choose this career, I think it can be a good career. But we have to have some knowledge. That's the reason we are studying this class. Questions? Comments? No? It's good? Okay, now I will briefly talking about the career or future salary of this field. Let's talk about the introduction to operations management. I should bring anyway, it's okay. So control. So definition. What is operations management? It's the part of business organization which is responsible for producing goods or service. So here we should pay attention to goods or service, which means traditional operation management, we talk about that. It's about manufacturing. It's the production of goods, right? We produce some goods, you put in the shelf of Walmart, we sell them, we earn money. So that's a process to operation management. Make sure that we can satisfy customer demand in Walmart, in Food Lion, in Harris Teeter, right? But in fact, it's also covered for the service industry. Think about if you are in finance major, you work in a bank, BB&T, okay, credit union. Okay, you don't, maybe the only product or good you have is maybe the cash. Well, it's really hard to say it's a product one. But if you think about it, it's really material good. But most thing we provide as a banking industry is the service, right? Financial advice, investment option, consulting, a lot of transaction, how to do that, right? Provide a lot of service, but it's also involved with operation management. Because the key thing is that you don't want a customer wait for half an hour before they can just deposit the check. If they really want to deposit a check in the counter place, right? You don't want. So you still want to make sure you can match the customer demand for your service, for your capacity. It's about operations management. So how can we define operation management? It's the management of a system or process to create a good or service. Okay. It's a very important picture. We are mentioned these pictures through the whole semester almost. The goal of operation management is here. Match supply with demand. That's the goal of this class, of each chapter of this class, or each model we introduce in each chapter of this class. It's always this goal. We want to match the supply with demand. That's the core value of operations management or supply chain management. Right? But this is ideal. I would say most likely, except extreme case, okay, we can't match the supply with the demand. It's either end up with we have a higher supply than demand or lower supply than demand. One thing I can guarantee is that as a genius, I can easily match supply with demand. You trust me? Sure. It's not easy in fact, but if I do some silly way, that can be easily done. For example, okay, I always tell my students, okay, if you want to match supply with demand, one simple way is that you have a convenience store, right? A convenience store. I say cookie, right? You sell cookie in the convenience store. I just never hold a cookie. So the customer come once, twice, they know, okay, you don't have cookie. So they have zero demand. Demand maybe initially is very high. Everybody then know, okay, after 1 month, you don't sell cookie. Then you have zero demand, you have zero supply. It's a match. But it's useless, right? This is totally useless for doing business. It is a match, it's useless. So for the real business, it's really hard. Okay, even convenience store, how many cookies you should hold? It's really hard. We have to go through all 9 chapters to help us to match the cookie demand in the convenience store. Still, most likely we can't match. But let's talk about these two inequality. Supply greater than demand. Think about Walmart, that we have more products in the shelf than the demand of customer. Or supply less than demand. Especially at the beginning of semester, we go to Walmart, try to get some notebook, pencils, and then we find, okay, we can't find them. Okay, if you are the operations manager, we know that this idea is, but we can't reach. If you have to choose between these two inequality, scenario 1, supply greater than demand, or scenario 2, supply less than demand, which one would you prefer to choose if you have?
The demand's greater than supply.
Demand greater than supply. So that's your choice. What's your name? John. John. Okay. John's choice says okay. He do prefer that okay, demand greater than supply. Anybody doesn't agree with John? So you choose
The supply over the demand.
over the demand. Okay. John, first explain why you think you do prefer that demand is larger than supply.
I'd rather people buy everything I have than keep stuff on the shelf forever.
So that means you can save the inventory cost, right? You don't need to return the stuff back to the supplier, right? And then you probably have a high turnover rates, something like that. Very good. Why you think you do prefer that supply greater than demand?
Because I'd rather the customers not be mad at me and then lose them in the future to another company or the same type product.
Very good, very good. I think these two guys already mentioned the cons and the pros of these two scenarios, right? And see, if supply greater than demand, okay, customer will be happy every time we go to Walmart because we know like almost 99% sure we will get stuff we want, right? If we go to a convenience store of Charles, we will never get cookie. Well, so that's really bad, right? But John's idea is also makes sense, right? You especially consider if your product is very expensive, right? You hold. Think about if you sell like diamond, say right, Tiffany, Cartier, you hold like 100 carats diamond. Well, it's just totally waste of money. So it really depends on industry. But for most industry, we have seen, in fact, nowadays we see this pattern, the first pattern, supply greater demand. For example, the store we visit, right, Walmart, Food Lion, this retailer store, most of them will see, okay, we probably will have most products we can find. Very few products we can't find. But John is also right. Think about high-end industry, right? Especially, let's say, for girls, they are very interested about luxury purse. Luxury purse. We know that. Not we know that. My wife knows that, so I know that, right? So, but really high-brand purse, you have to order in advance. You have to order 1 year or 2 years ago. Say, I don't know, maybe Hermes or some products, right? You have to order. Say, I really want that. You will add it into the waiting list. You will say, I want to pay $30,000 for this. Sorry, 1 year waiting list. I say, I have cash ready. Who cares? 1 year, wait. And until they produce that, you get that. Well, they are very successful, right? They're very successful. Another successful story, maybe not anymore, is that iPhone, right? When iPhone 1 come out to the market, right? Everybody want to get iPhone, right? You have to wait. No one can get iPhone in first day or in first month. No one, very few people. And now it's iPhone 6, iPhone 7. It's not as popular as before, but still, it's really hard in the first 1 month or 1 week when they release that. So you should choose a strategy according to your business. That's very important. But the strategy you choose will definitely affect your operations cost. That's what we discuss, right? It's not easy. So I want supply that greater than demand, or I want supply less than demand. Right? Our goal should be always this. But if we have to choose, we need to find a strategy. Okay, generally speaking, there are so many departments under organization like marketing, operations, finance, sometimes accounting, like IT departments, human resource departments, R&D departments. So there are so many departments. Right? And traditionally, if you think about the highest level of a company, what is the position of the highest level of a company typically? CEO, that's right. Traditionally, we promote the person to the CEO's position usually is from like CFO, right? Chief Financial Office. Sometimes CMO, Chief Marketing Office, right? Yeah. And I talk about it. But nowadays, there's some company, they promote the person from the middle, so COO, Chief Operations Manager, officer, to become a CEO. Can you give me an example? That's a person who was previously a COO, Chief Operations Officer, now become a CEO of a company. One example. Nobody can provide an example? Okay. If I talk about this example, everybody know that. Who has an iPhone? I believe you guys have an advanced version. I still have iPhone 5. fact, I got free iPhone 5 last year from my mother. My mother, she can't bear I use Windows Phone anymore with a cracked screen for 3 years. She said, you have to get new phone, iPhone 5. Anyway, yeah. So Apple, right? That's an example. I think you guys know who is the previous Apple CEO, previous one. Steve Jobs, right? Legend. We can give a lot of title and Steve Jobs. Okay. Then, do you know who is the current CEO of Apple?
Wozniak?
Who?
Is it Wozniak?
No. Who is the current CEO of Apple? Without Google, it's no. Nobody knows that. You can. Half of students use Apple's products, and you only know Steve Jobs. But Steve Jobs has resigned, and unfortunately he passed away later. But he has resigned as CEO for like almost like 5 years or at least 4 years. So who is the current CEO of Apple? Apple still is very successful, and the new leadership. Do you know anybody know that? His name is Tim Cook. Tim Cook is the current CEO of Apple. Now, since you don't know Tim Cook, probably most likely you don't know the background of Tim Cook. So Tim Cook, he's not from like Ivy League University or something like that. He finished his undergraduate degree in Arizona State, still pretty decent university, with the major of industrial engineering. So that's his undergraduate background. Then he worked a long time in IBM, doing operations supply chain consultants. And then he was recruited to Apple, right? Do the same thing, operation management, for so many years. Promotes until the COO. By the way, during this process, he pursued her MBA degree in North Carolina, in Duke University. Right? He got his MBA degree in Duke. Concentration is still operations management. And then, 4 years ago, when Steve Jobs decided to resign because of the health issue, well, very few people expect Steve Jobs would promote Tim Cook, the COO, to the CEO position, because we know that Apple is very strong here, right? CMO market is very strong. Apple is always very strong on R&D, the design, right? So if you promote like C-level position from marketing, from R&D, even finance, traditionally we think okay, it's the common decision. But Steve Jobs made an uncommon decision to promote Tim Cook become the new CEO of Apple. Now it turns out nowadays we can see it was a very successful decision. It's a very successful decision. The reason why Steve Jobs promote Tim Cook is that from the outside, like customer view, most customer we think okay, Apple is very strong as R&D design. Apple is very strong on marketing, right? So release the iPhone, then use the hungry sales method, right? Everybody has to wait, or you are become panic to get an iPhone, right? You want to compete with your friend. But only a few people know that Apple is also very strong in operations management. Apple's global supply chain probably is the #1 for electronic industry, better than Samsung, no matter Motorola or whatever you can mention that. Apple has the cheapest supply chain and the most reliable supply chain. One iPhone you have, the components of one iPhone is coming from 18 different countries. 18 different countries. China, Malaysia, Turkey, you can name that. 18 different countries, probably maybe German or different countries. And it's amazing. There are many components used in iPhone directly produced from Samsung. You may don't know that, we'll explain. Direct from Samsung. Before I explain, I want to ask you, why iPhone or Apple's products have some components direct from Samsung? What's the rationale? If you are the CEO, if you are the managing Apple, why you want to do that? It's like, okay, you pay money to competitors, right? And then they earn money from us. Why we do that?
Well, because Samsung already has the research and development to make those parts, so they don't have to invest in that process.
Okay.
So they're outsourcing that part.
Okay, I will challenge you, right? So you say Samsung has these components, this important component, otherwise we won't have to use this component in our iPhone. So it's very important. Why we don't develop the component by ourselves? We know Samsung now is very strong. Why we don't develop by ourselves to compete with them?
Well, I'm thinking that Apple doesn't see the value in doing that. Has really never been, well, except for the Mac, but they haven't really been the first with putting something on the market. They've been very good at making something better, and so they're using technology that's already existing and trying to make it better than what it is. So they're trying to perfect it.
Okay. Do you guys agree with him? The rational? Agree? Kind of agree? Or maybe you have some idea why Apple want to do that. Or why it's not Apple. Samsung did the same thing. They use component direct from provided by Apple in their cell phone. Why? We think that they are head-to-head competitor, right? Why they want to do this? Never think about that? Yeah. It's benefit, right? As you said, okay, nowadays the technology changes every day. You can invest a lot of money to get like camera or map or whatever you think is important in your phone. But after you invest $1 billion, or maybe 2 years later, a startup can beat you so easily. Right? You waste a lot of money. You can't be the best in all the field. Operation management, supply chain we'll talk about is all about collaboration. You should think about nowadays under globalization, as a multinational company, you can't just be narrow-minded and say, I will be best for all the field. You can't do that. As a person, as a company, no matter it's Apple or anybody, you can't be that, right? You have to collaborate with others. Many times the competitor is also your partner. It can be, now it's partner. So that's why Apple do that. So you can see under this environment, supply chain operation becomes so important. Tim Cook's role becomes so important, right? It's not just about marketing. So it's about how to save the cost by providing the best products. Supply chain, that's what we're talking about. Unfortunately, we only have one chapter, chapter 15, supply chain management covered in this class. I can tell you, I can spend the whole semester to talk about supply chain. We have a selective class called supply chain management, but I don't think we had opened this class for 10 years in undergraduate level. The reason I think we are lacking of the faculty capacity. I think I should be the person to open the selective supply chain management class in school of business, but I was tied up into this class, operation management. I simply can't. But I teach supply chain management in MBA level. Well, the feedback is very good because nowadays it's more fancy to talk about supply chain than operation management. Trust me, if you apply the job later in this field, you want to talk a lot about supply chain. Right? Let's briefly introduce supply chain. The idea is very simple. It's a sequence of activities that an organization involved in producing and delivering a good or service. It can be from the supplier to your direct suppliers, and you are in the middle position. You are the producer or manufacturer, and then distributor and then final customers. Well, you can add the chain become extremely long or maybe shorter, right? That's still supply chain. I would rather call it supply network because there are so many partners, involved in this supply, not just a simple chain, but traditionally we still call it supply chain. So supply chain management is that you have to collaborate with your partners in this supply chain to make sure our final goal is still the same, right? Supply equal demand. But given extremely long supply chain and the globalization, sometimes you don't know who is your supplier. Maybe it's a small village in Malaysia. It's your supplier. Maybe you don't care or you don't have energy to know who is your supplier. But anything happen in this small village in Asia can affect whether your final customer will be happy. Right? So it's really sometimes out of control. But that's also require us to collaborate with our partner. Maybe we only contact with our direct supplier, but you want to negotiate and help them to make sure the supply also can provide good quality of a material component for them. And then you also want to make sure your distributor can deliver the product to a final customer on time with good quality. So it's become extremely hard. And the good thing is that the supply chain related jobs there's so many supply chain related jobs nowadays. If you search for LinkedIn, huge. My previous job, guys know that, supply chain consultant, right? A huge potential in this field, a lot of opportunities. Let me explain a little bit why. So when I graduated 2010, right, from Purdue University, it's extremely hard to find a job, right? With the double-digit unemployment, it's extremely hard, right? And then I did the H-1B visa also for international people. You need the working visa. Then it's become more extremely more. I know it's wrong grammar, but anyway, it's harder to find a job, right? So I applied like more than 100 jobs. I got several into, but never got offer. And then I have friends who graduated 2 years ago from Purdue with mass PhD, already working in a small company in Connecticut, doing the supply chain consultant. He told me, okay, that's your backup plan. Just apply our company. You probably will get offer. I applied, got offer. So I ended up with Connecticut, right? In 2010. So when I begin my job in 2010, then we have several meetings with our CEO. In 2010 to 2012, when I work in that company, small company, 100 people, okay, our client just increased a lot. Initially, we only have Procter & Gamble. The first client they have is Procter & Gamble from 2004. But from 2004 to 2009, they probably only attracts another 2 clients, Campbell Soup or I forget some two clients. But from 2009, later, 2009 to 2012, they have like maybe 10 new clients, all big names. Unilever, you guys know Unilever, right? Right? Like they have like, I think, is that Stowe? No, Stowe. Unilever, who's the shampoo brand of Pantene or something like that? Kraft Food, you must know Kraft Food, right? Lots of products by Kraft. Kimberly-Clark probably have some diaper or something like okay, baby products, right? And Shell, everybody knows Shell oil, right? Gas, right? So you can name that, like so many new clients, okay, want to sign the contracts, $1 million contract with my previous company. So my CEO, she was very excited every time, and she told us during our meetings that the reason during the recession we attract so many customers is because the recession. I know it seems ridiculous, right? But we really thankful for the recession for this company. The reason is that there's so many Fortune 5 companies. No matter if you are Procter & Gamble or Unilever or Kraft, doesn't matter. During recession, you will have problem. Okay, let's first talk about Econ 101. Revenue. Who can tell me? Revenue? Sorry, not revenue. Profits. That's our goal, right? Profit is equal to what?
Revenues less expenses.
Right. Revenue minus cost or expense, right? What's happened during the recession? We know that no matter what's the time, we should maximize our profit. That's our final goal, right? But what's happened during recession? Revenue keep going down. Can we do a lot of things about that? No, we can't. Because if more than 10% people are unemployed, how can you expect, say, Unilever or Procter & Gamble, we have a fantastic new shampoo, try it. Who want to try it? I don't want to try it, right? I probably won't wash my hair for 1 week to save some money. Just kidding, right? If I can do that. So you can't do too much about revenue during recession. No matter what company you are, you can't do too much because the whole economy. But there's always something you can do, no matter it's recession or economic good. Cost. There's most costs inside, right? You can do something. You always can do something. But before the recession, my CEO want to promote our products, want to persuade the company to sign contract with us before recession. Very few people are interested. And they say, okay, I know that your product can save a lot of money, but we are booming. You know that? We have to spend a lot of money on marketing, new product development. We don't have the time and energy to save costs. Seems ridiculous, but it's true, right? When you are good, I don't care. If I earn lots of money, I don't care how much I spend on grocery shopping, right? Which is, I can't blame that. We can't blame. But during the recession, since there's very little thing they can do to increase revenue, in fact, to slow down the decrease of revenue, right? They pay attention to here. Their fundamental strong. Those companies can't go bankrupt even during recession, but they're very painful. Continue to lose money doing recession, right? They pay attention to cost. They say, okay, they come to my previous company, say, I have to sign a contract with you. Please implement your solution as soon as possible. I can invest multi-million dollars now to save more money for them. It's not easy. It's not cheap. I can tell you that the software we provide for Unilever program, they are very expensive, have license fee. As a consultant, typically we have 1 year projects to implement our solution to them, like provide a demand forecasting for them, inventory management for them. It's not cheap at all. As a consultant, I charge my clients $200 per hour. $200 per hour. I usually charge them 40 to 50 hours per week. You think about it, if I work full load 50 hours, which means it's $10,000 per week. And usually one project we have 3 consultants. You together 1 year, do a simple calculation. Right? One consultant, $10,000 per week. Well, $40,000 per month. 3 consultants, $120,000 per month. 1 year. Get that, right? It's already a lot of investment. But anyway, I get only like 1/3 of the fee I charge for the client. My company only put okay, Charles, 2/3 come to me. You get 1/3. But I do know that as we charge $200 per hour for the consulting fee. So it's very expensive. Why the investment? Because they can save more money by invest $1 million. It's a huge potential. Okay, now recession has ended for several years. But the company learned a lesson from the recession. They know that they can't let the operation cost so high. If that's so high, recession come in, you will be the first company to die. Other companies, they already know that. They save the cost. Maybe you are very good nowadays for revenue, but they know that we have to keep the cost very low. It's about our job. So operation management is never a fancy job because we are focused on the minus part. You think about finance, marketing, most likely, finance marketing, we focus on revenue, how to increase our revenue. That's the reason, okay, even myself, like to do finance marketing. Operation management, oh, so boring. How do you save each penny? But think about that, it's the same. At the end, contribute to profits is the same. 1 penny increase is the same as 1 penny you save, right? The same, what's the difference? You think we provide lower value than finance people to provide to increase 1 penny? It's the same, $1, same. So those fancy, but it's so important, especially if you want to survive in a fierce competition environment. Very important to lower your cost. That's our job. Okay, so the process. The process includes the inputs of land, labor, capital information, and we have to control and to transform, convert our inputs like material information to the output, usually it's goods or service provided to the customer. So the control is a very important part for operation management. We want to control the process, make sure we are delivering the best goods or service to our customers. So here is the different industry between manufacturing and service industry, right? Like automobile assembly industry is most likely manufacturing parts, a little bit service. Right? Home remodeling, most parts also manufacturing, but provide some service like choose the floor plan and how the internal design of your house. And software development most likely provide service, but also have some good maybe CD or some other goods. But teaching is almost a pure service industry. But we also provide some goods like maybe exam, paper version exam. That's the only example I can think about that. I'll talk about this. I want to mention of teaching, right? So I was thinking about that teaching is a service industry. My previous job is a consulting is also a service industry. Well, definitely as a faculty, it's very different with consulting because as a consultant I have to back to my clients every day. Right? Please, I know that I cost a lot of money from you, $200 every hour you talk with me, but yeah, so it's different. So I have to be very careful when deal with our customer happy. It's very important, but it's still the service industry. So I think some faculty may choose it different, but that's my view. So I provide service to you guys, yeah. position difference. You are not my clients. I didn't charge you $200 per hour, right? So you are not my client. But again, still, we are service. As a faculty, I have very strict rule on the classroom behavior code, on the oral code, on the exam, on the homework. But at the end, I want to provide the best service, deliver the best knowledge I can to you guys. So that's very important. Well, maybe the position is different as I work as consultant, but the idea is same, is serving industry. Customer satisfaction is the most important thing for this industry. For me, for school business, for UNC Pembroke. You guys should always know that. I find some students didn't get that too. They say you are the teacher, right? You are, I don't know, right? So like my daughter to me, right? She just manage everything, right? Have to listen. Not exactly. First thing I suggest you guys to use the resource. We are no slavers, that's for sure, right? But during the advice week, come to our office, talk with us, right? Like on Monday, already like 4 students come to my office. I didn't expect that, or Wednesday, but anyway, they come to our office to talk with me. If you have any question during homework, exam, talk with your faculty, talk with the staff, talk with the librarian. That's the resource. You pay the tuition fee, maybe you get scholarship, but still taxpayer to pay that. You should use the resource. Get the best service you can, given the resource. That's very important. Secondly, I think student satisfaction is very important, even in the classroom. Right? I don't want everybody come here just want to sign the sign paper, right? And then nothing, and the gets D, happy, leave this classroom. It's a failure for both you and me. Come here, just get a D, okay. Well, maybe you think it's a successful story, but I don't think so, right? So it's very important. If you have any suggestion or opinion, talk with me. Okay, what we should do differently for the class. I'm very happy that I know many students and Anna and Jessica, they are in my class before, right? Thank you guys. I just got my teaching evaluation last message. It is very high. It's very high, close to 4 score on my student feedback. But that's definitely a lot of room I can improve. So I think it's not just for my class, for all the class, for the service provided university, we are the people provide service to you, like Chancellor said. Student is. I don't think Chancellor has to say that, because but he has to emphasize. Some faculty or staff didn't get that. Students is always a top priority. You go to Purdue, it's the same. Purdue is a research school, definitely. But when I see a professor in Purdue, when I was teaching Purdue, I had huge pressure. I know you can do good research on a paper, but my advisor, they are fighting to get the top evaluation score in my department. They got 4.8, 4.9 out of 5. They are still fighting. They are 10 to the 4 professors in Purdue. They are fighting to get the best evaluation from students. In fact, the student evaluation doesn't matter at all for their salary income at all, but they care. As a teacher, no matter you are in Harvard, Purdue, or here, same thing. You are a teacher, maybe you are a researcher, you are do some other thing, but you are a teacher. Student evaluation, student satisfaction is the most important thing. That's my idea. So, never hesitate to ask me questions or give any suggestion to me. I appreciate that. Okay. That's for this industry. Okay, I want to talk about that. So manufacturing and service are very different because manufacturing industry is good oriented and the service active oriented. So then, what matters? We know that it's good oriented and service and act oriented. Then, is that related to our operation management? What do you think? They're different. Why? Then how can it affect our operations management? I know that they're different industry, right? Manufacturing and service, they're different. How can they affect? It's hard. No, let's first talk about next chapter, forecasting. Forecasting we are studying maybe definitely next week, beginning of June. So no matter you are in the manufacturing industry or service industry, you have to forecast your demand, right? How many customers will buy your shampoos? How many customers will come to your bank? It's the good, right? Then what's the difference? If you doing the forecasting for manufacturing versus for the service, for Walmart, for BB&T, what's the difference?
So, say for Walmart, you have to make sure that you have the products in place in shelves, whereas the banks have to have people.
People,
So
yeah.
having hours. available for servicing.
Very, very true. So if you work in the manufacturing industry, the goods, the products, most important thing to maintain, to be there, right? But for service industry, because we're providing service, it's most likely it's the professional people, and you have to pay very attention about that. Not just people count. Think about you are working, let's not say like Chase, Morgan Chase, right? And let's say we have 5 clerks ready for you, but if you have high-end customer come in, nobody can serve this high-end customer. You lose a lot of money. It's not just, okay, I have 5 people, right? Can deposit check, use this, right? At least for this customer, right? But for good industry, it's like, okay, you have the good, then you have the goods, right? So that should be very pay attention to. We'll see that service industry is generally more challenging for us for operation management than manufacturing industry. Very challenging. Several reasons, right? Jobs in service are often less structured than in manufacturing. It's really hard. Like for example, the first day you become the, let's say even the cashier in food line, it's not easy, right? You have to remember some code. You have to, I don't know, maybe new fruits come in and you can't recognize these fruits. Right? For example, my wife always blame me. Say I call all the vegetables like green vegetables. I can't tell. Okay, actually they are all green, right? So that's the thing I call. Sometimes he asks me to buy something for line. I say they're all green vegetables. I have to ask somebody. Okay, that's which is what, right? So this looks easy, less structure. Customer contact generally much higher in service compared to manufacturing. In manufacturing, you do your own job, right? You report to your manager. That's all. That's almost all. But service, even you are cashier, you have to communicate with customer, ask, okay, how's the weather? How's the day? Do you like our shopping experience? Sometimes you don't want to talk with them, but you have, right? So it is generally much higher, but it can affect the performance significantly. In many service industry, worker skill level are low compared to those in manufacturing employer. Well, it depends, but it's true. In the high-end service level, you get higher payments, right? But in fact, you probably have a higher skill level. That's for the consultants, for the advising, a lot of job service, right? Even faculty, right? But for many industry, the entry bar is very extremely low, right? So you are 16 years old, you can do like cashier, or you work in the McDonald's, you can work in Full Lion, right? You don't need too much training. You can do that. So that can create problem for operation management, right? Service are adding many new workers in no skill entry level position, similar to part 3. Turnover is very high, especially in no skill job, because no skill job most likely means no payment. You can't expect the employee to be very loyal for this no payment job. Input variation is very high. It's very high for service industry. Service performance can be adversely affected by many factors outside your control. Weather, right? Customer attitude, right? It's just kind of because, well, Charles, myself usually is a patience guy, but if today I have a really bad mood, I face my customer, I can go crazy, then my manager will in very hard position. So sometimes it's just out of control, right? It's really hard. Process management. So there are 3 categories of the process. It's up level of management level, right? Operations process, that's the middle level, and the supporting process supports the core processes. Next, probably is the last topic we'll talk about today, is about variation. Well, the reason we can never, most likely, never reach the supply equal to demand is because of variation. Well, the steady method I use, I tell you guys, is that I just never sell cookie. Well, I match my supply with demand with holding 0 cookie and sell 0 of them. It's because I totally remove the variation, right? If you don't have this product, you have no variation. But if we decide to go to any industry, sell anything, while provide any service, if we make this decision, we have to face a variation. The variation creates a problem. Creates a problem that we can never match the supply, or almost never can't match the supply with demand. There are 4 types of variation. The first is the variety of good or service provided. Well, in fact, It can be a good thing, right? You provide a lot of good, provide service. That's the reason we like Walmart, right? The one-stop shop center, right? Well, and also I like the unbeatable, right? Always unbeatable. Right? So that's just the variation you like there, right? So you don't want to go to 3 grocery store to get the grocery shop, right? But it's creates a problem. Like Walmart, Food Lion, they have so many products to manage it. They can have a problem. Right? The second source is called structural variation in demand. Okay, it's for example, seasonality. Seasonality is a structural variation of demand. Could you give me some example of products with high seasonality?
Candy canes.
Candy canes. I don't think it has very strong seasonality, especially in US. Right? We use candy canes every day, especially the kids. Anything else?
Wrapping paper.
Writing paper, especially beginning of the semester, right? Yeah. Anything else? Products with very high seasonality. Watermelon. Yeah, that's for sure, right? It's almost the end of season, unfortunately. Anything else? A lot. I usually get like 100 examples, very simple.
Christmas trees.
Christmas, very good example. And then turkey, right? Well, you can name that, right? Every season, every holiday we have. Probably not anything for Labor Day very soon. But that's the problem. And then random variation, that's thing we hate, but we can't handle. Right? Random variation. The last one is what we want to eliminate. It's assignable variation. For example, you are lack of training, so you do something always wrong. That's assignable. If we improve your training, first skill, you can solve that. So after we solve this part, we can improve our management very well. Okay, that's the end of today's class. We'll see you guys on next Monday.